Oh, that's where I usually am. All right. You guys can hear me on the live stream, I hope. So we are back. We do this every Saturday, most days, most weeks, unless I'm out of town or something. So we're going live and we've been doing a several week study on how to reach your dreams and how to stop procrastinating. So if you've been procrastinating and you've got all these reasons why, I have covered that in 5 videos so far on my YouTube channel. So if you go to the YouTube channel and you go under the live button under Katherine Norland, you will see um, you'll see all of those reasons. So so far we've covered fear, uncertainty, overwhelm, what to do when you have unpleasant tasks, and what to do if certain things leading to your goals and dreams bring you discomfort, or if you have time restraints and you're like, oh, I want to reach my dreams, but I just do not have the time to go after them, or maybe the timing is just not right. So, those are the topics we've covered so far. If any of those seem like they're your issues, I would definitely tell you to um, go to my YouTube channel and check out those previous live streams. So good to see a lot of you here. I see Brittany and Nicola and Mona. Uh, who else is here? Lots of people. Donald is here. Okay, great. I'm sure Nana is here. So we're going to get right into it. So, as I mentioned, the last few weeks, we've gone over all these reasons that we have been procrastinating on our goals and dreams. And we are going to continue. So, for the last few weeks, I have given you more than 20 tips on how to beat procrastination. How to beat procrastination when it comes to all those things we just mentioned: fear, uncertainty, overwhelm, unpleasant tasks, discomfort, whatever is standing in the way of you and your dreams. So, today we're going to shift into a more introspective version, a mode where I want to help you guys nail down, like, once and for all, what are the reasons I'm procrastinating on my dreams? What are the reasons I'm procrastinating on my goals? And I'm calling this an introspective mode because today I'm not going to be offering you like half a dozen tips on do this, do this, do this to fix it, because this could be something deeper. And I waited until now to talk about this for a reason. So, what are the reasons you procrastinate? We've talked about many of those in the last few streamings. However, if it's not one of those things like overwhelm, timing, time management, what maybe the culprit could be something deep down within you that's causing you to not do the things that you need to do. So, we're going to get into that. And that could either be you lack confidence or you just don't feel worthy. And so we're going to go through some definitions and stuff, and you guys can determine, you guys can let me know. Do you think you suffer from more of an unworthiness thing, or do you think it's maybe just has something to do with your confidence level? A lot of people think they're the same thing, and they really are not the same thing. Somebody's asking me to talk about the ceiling behind me. I really don't know what to say. I'm just in my office and that's a ceiling fan. I don't know, maybe it looks like I've got antennas, like a bug or something coming out of my ears, but I'm just in my office. Okay. I used to sit at my desk with the burgundy curtain behind me, and I just was like, you know what? I got tired of sitting. I feel like I sit all day long at my computer. So, on days where I'm not on set filming. So I just wanted to stand, and maybe you guys can help me figure out a better backdrop. I don't know. You know me, I'm not really into all that stuff that's just for display. But okay, let's get into today. So, is it that you're procrastinating on your dreams because you don't have confidence? Or is it that you have a deeper feeling of unworthiness. So let's differentiate between the two. We're going to start talking about unworthiness. So, unworthiness is when you don't feel worthy to do what you want to do, or to succeed, or to win at your goals. One dictionary definition says it's the quality or state of lacking merit or value. Unworthiness, now that's different than not being confident. Because you can, when you're not confident in yourself or not confident in what you are doing, or maybe you just have a general having like low self-confidence in your abilities. Well, the good news is that confidence is something that actually builds the more you do something. So the more you work towards something and work on something or get trained in that thing, the more confidence will build. So, usually, the more practice you have at a job or a skill, the more competent you get with it, the more confidence you will have around it. The more you start to succeed at your job or your skills or your schoolwork, that usually also pushes you into the realm of being more confident, not only in your abilities, but you start to be more confident in yourself. Like when you get really good at playing baseball or writing reports at work, the more you do it and the more competent you get in it, you don't only get more confident in the thing you're doing, you kind of start to get more confident in yourself. You're like, oh, I'm I'm actually pretty good at this, which means I may be pretty good at other things. So you can build up that confidence. So the dictionary describes confidence as a belief in a person or a thing, or in yourself, your abilities, your powers, your self reliance. You can be confident in yourself. So, from this definition, you can see how confidence can be grown just by the state of having more practice at a thing. So, whereas worthiness, the definition is the fact or quality of having adequate merit or character or value. The second definition of worthiness has to do with the quality or meeting a standard of deserving. Do you see how that's different? So you could be confident at something because you've built up some competency, you've built up a skill in that area, and yet you still might not feel like you deserve to win at it. You still might not feel like you deserve um, success from the area that you are skilled at. And when that happens, you know, yes, having confidence in your abilities can make you confident, but if you don't feel worthy of that success that comes from the skills you have in that area, it may cause you to sabotage your efforts. So if you're wondering like, why am I always messing this up? Why even when I want this thing really badly, why is it not working out? So I'll show you how I'll let you guys know how this showed up in my life. Just to give you an example, most of you guys know that I am an actor. And hello, everyone who's been saying hello. I can't acknowledge every single person because there's a lot of people on here, but I see you. I do. I see you. Um, so how this showed up for me in my life was that even when I got to the place after many years of training and practice where I knew I was a good actor and I was confident in my abilities to perform. But because I did not feel worthy of success, I subconsciously, without even knowing it, not making a conscious decision to do it, I subconsciously did things to sabotage my auditions and my chances of being chosen for the different films and things I was auditioning for. And I talk a lot about this in my book, You Are Worthy. Do I have a copy here? Hold on. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to show you. Okay, I don't know where another version is. So I wrote this book called You Are Worthy, and I talk about my journey um, of how I had to stop sabotaging my own dreams and building everyone else's dreams and learning my worth so I could step into my calling and live my purpose with confidence. And I give you all the tips and tricks of how to do that in this book. And it talks a lot about my journey into becoming an actor and how that all played out for me. So pick up my book, You Are Worthy, if you're interested, if you think that might be an issue you have. Yeah. So for you, what you're dealing with, how this might manifest in your life is, for instance, you may be fully capable of getting an A on your test. If you just put in a couple hours of studying, if you put in a couple hours of studying time, but if you have this underlying sense of unworthiness, that may have you do things that are the opposite of the results that you say you want. Okay, so when you don't feel worthy, it causes you to act in a way where you procrastinate and you don't take the time you need to study. Suddenly, everything else will be more appealing to you and you won't find the time to study. Maybe you have a relative visiting from out of town, or it's a friend's birthday party, or you stay out too late. And even though those things aren't necessarily pressing like the test you have, you maybe the relatives in town are, that might be pressing, but like you'll suddenly start to feel like, well, I got to go to the mall, I got to go shopping, I've got to organize my garage, I want to play video games. And maybe maybe you're playing video games and you reached a new level and you feel like, I can't quit now, I can't stop and go study. These things and other things, they may be getting in the way of what you say you want to do. Even things that are not time sensitive, like playing video games or going to the mall, when you know your priority is to study for your test. It somehow, when you have a sense of unworthiness and you feel that way about yourself, you don't realize it's manifesting itself outwardly in the decisions that you make and what you spend your time doing. It's like making the decisions for you. So I was working with a coaching client once on this, and he was never prepared. Um, this guy that I was coaching, and we would work through his schedule, and we would go through like how we overcome all these obstacles that are standing in the way of him getting the work done that he cared about. But week after week, no matter what we tried, if we would set up, okay, these are the rewards you get for when you actually do this, or when that didn't work, these are the punishments you have to do to get you to do it, and if you don't do it, these are the ways you're going to punish yourself. And I don't mean like weird kind of punishments. I mean, like, if you don't do this thing, then you have to send money to a charity that you don't like. Like, for instance, for a political party you don't like. That would be the sort of punishment that some people need punishment as a motivation. If they're not motivated by rewards, they need a punishment. So that's a whole nother different psychology thing, which we won't get into. But the point was, he wanted to do these things and he was motivated to do these things, but whatever we tried, it didn't work for him. So the deeper we dug into like what was going on, there was a deep rooted sense of unworthiness. He felt like he was not enough, and he felt somehow that he was unworthy in the sight of God because of mistakes that he made. So what he would do when it came to his goals and his dreams is he would just wing it. He would just like slap things together towards his dreams and goals and hope that it might work out. So, but when you wing it and you're not prepared on your goals and dreams, a lot of times things doesn't work out. But here's what we discovered. When he started talking about this, and um he admitted something that I think was a very important breakthrough for him, and it might be something that you guys need to realize for yourself as well. Is what we discovered and what he admitted was, he said, "Well, if I don't try, if I just kind of throw it out there and I'm not prepared and I don't really try to do this thing, then I won't be disappointed if it doesn't happen for me and I don't reach my dreams." I'm just pausing for a second so you could take in what that actually means. So he thought, you know what? I could feel good about myself if I don't reach my dreams, if I can say, well, I didn't really try. I didn't really try to go after my dreams. He thought that would make him feel better because listen, if he really tried and he really prepared for his dreams and it didn't work out, then he thought he would have to face the fact that he was a total failure. That's what he thought. So, could that be something that's underlying behind you not going for your dreams, procrastinating, waiting to the last minute, not working hard, having to come to terms with trying your hardest and then failing? That might feel like a more painful realization than the hopes of just maybe it'll work out if I don't prepare. And then not really trying will make me be okay with myself if I don't succeed. Is any of that resonating with you? Have you even are you the kind of person that has even sat and asked yourself those deep questions? Because so many of us that aren't reaching our dreams, we just decide to zone out. Well, I'll just scroll through social media. I'll just do that. And we don't allow ourselves quiet to get to the heart of why we're doing what we're doing and when things aren't working out. Nicola, thank you so much for the super sticker. Nicola's asking, do you think peer pressure could be a reason you procrastinate or your friends dislike what you do? Yeah, I mean, I we've talked about 7 or 8 things of why we procrastinate. That could definitely be one, but that seems like it might fit under more of the category of uncertainty, possibly, which we talked about in one of the previous videos. So it could be uncertainty, but peer pressure, I always say when in doubt, don't. So if you're feeling like, "Oh, I don't know if I should do this," if you're getting like a check in your spirit, it might be a good idea to just not do that thing that you're unsure of. Now that's could be different if it's just a fear thing. Maybe there's something you need to do, but you're just scared to do it, but you know it would be good for you. So you could see how we could peel back the layers, and this could be all different kinds of things that could stand in the way. But the powerful one today, as we're talking about, is am I not going after my dreams because I don't feel like I deserve success? Or am I not going after them just because I'm not confident in the thing? So let's get deeper into this. When you feel unworthy, there's this underlying sense of I don't deserve to win. You think you don't deserve to win. Maybe you think I don't deserve to have a great relationship. Maybe you think you don't deserve a promotion at your job. Maybe you think you don't deserve to get straight A's or to find your soulmate or to set a world record or it could even be simple things like I don't deserve to get stronger at the gym or I don't deserve to have a house or whatever it is. I remember back in 2014 when I first started really going deep into self-help courses and getting really motivated to finally go after my dreams. And I finally felt confident that like, hey, it's now my turn. I'm going to work on my dreams and I'm not just going to do everything for everybody else and put my goals on the back burner. When I finally felt confident to do that, because I didn't want to just let my dreams die. I was just letting my dreams die. So the problem was every time I set out to do the things that I wanted to do that would lead to success, it was like something got in the way. Something didn't work out with the project or the people I was working with, or I would get stuck on the technology and I couldn't figure out the technology behind it, or I would be in this fog and I wouldn't know what to do to work on my dreams. So, uh, you know, I just wouldn't do anything. I would just get stuck. And so when this would happen, people in my life would say things to me like, well, if you really wanted it, you would just do it. Has anybody ever told you that? If you really wanted to make this thing happen, you just would. And you must not really want it bad enough, or you would just make it happen. And that used to get me so irritated. Because you can see, I used to get so irritated because they'd say, oh, if you wanted it bad enough, you'd have it. So you must not really want it. But deep down, I knew my desires were true and they were valid. And I did really want those goals that I was trying to achieve. And I could not figure out for the life of me why they weren't happening. And then I took another course. I was like reading all these books and studying all these courses. And then I took another course, and it was an advanced course on how to live an extraordinary life. And that's when I discovered the reason why I was never able to achieve the things that I wanted so badly were that my actions, the things I needed to do, they could never exceed the subconscious beliefs that I had. What does that mean? It sounds like I'm talking jargon. I'll break it down for you though. So, how you think about yourself will manifest in everything that you do. So, deep down inside, I didn't feel like I was good enough or worthy enough. So, no matter how badly I wanted the dreams and goals I had to be a writer, a speaker, an actor, my actions showed otherwise. So, what does this mean for you? How can you apply this to your life? When you say you want certain things in life, whether it's a better relationship, better job, more pay, or to get in shape, and you truly do want those things, however, how you behave may be inconsistent with the view you have of yourself. How are you seeing yourself? Are you seeing yourself as the person who does those things you need to do or becomes what you need to become to do the things that you need to do? So, if you have a view of yourself that doesn't allow you to become the person you need to be in order to make the changes that you need to make to reach your dreams or to stick to a schedule and put in the needed work that would cause you to have the things you desire, then it's not going to work out. So many people, they go out and they read how-to books, right? They're like, if I just get this how-to book, I'm going to have the formula. I'm going to have the blueprints. I'm going to get the step-by-step plan. I'm going to take the classes that's going to show me exactly what I need to do, but then they still fail. You may have read a lot of how-to books. You may have taken a lot of classes on how to do something, but it's still not working out for you. Someone could lay out the entire plan, every step in front of you to become uber successful and rich in whatever industry you choose, or in your marriage, or to have the fit, lean body you want, or any area that you have dreams. I'm sure there's a book on it, if not, also a course. But still, even with everything laid out for you, it's still not going to work out. Or if it does work out, it's only temporary and you end up losing it all and reverting back to how it was before, sometimes worse. Has that happened to any of you? Have you ever, like, everything's just been so out of reach you couldn't get it, or if you did get it, you lost it and you couldn't keep it? Has that happened to you? And why is that? So once, and Nana may remember this, once there was an author who spoke at in his presence church, and his name was Brian Clemmer. I haven't read his book yet. I plan to soon, but he had a book and I just loved the title. And I remember this was like 20 years ago, and I still remember the title of the book. The book was called If How-Tos Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. And that title really made me think, wow, yes, there is so much information out there online, at the library, at our fingertips, that we don't even have to leave the house and we could learn really virtually anything. And if you're anything like me, you may have hundreds of books at your house that you haven't read yet, um, that are supposed to help you. Or you may have dozens of online courses that you've paid for, and maybe you've started them, but you haven't finished them. Or maybe, like me, you've got courses you've paid for and you haven't even started them yet. Okay, so back to that title. If how to's were enough, we would all be skinny, rich, and happy. So, one of my issues that I have been working on is I feel like, man, I really need to learn marketing. Marketing is my downfall. I've known this for a couple of years now, and yet I just ran across a marketing course I bought um, years ago that I never went through. I never even started it, and it's got 65 lessons on marketing in it. I've not done one yet. So, what is the reason? What is the reason that even when we're trying to make the steps towards our goals and dreams, and we buy the books and we buy the courses and then we don't even do it? It's like we feel good just having taken the step. There's been research that shows that when you share your goals and dreams with someone, you get this like dopamine hit as if you've done the thing. Sometimes even talking about the things you will do um, gets you excited enough that you get that hit of dopamine that you don't even like need to do the thing to get that dopamine hit. And sometimes that's enough for people to not even, they're like, oh, I talked about it, I felt good about it. um, there's a book I read once, and it talked about how we're influenced and how everything in our life, of how we're marketed to online, even in stores, we're marketed to in such a way that um, the way the grocery store is laid out, at least in America, I don't know how it is in other countries. Have you ever noticed how when you go into a grocery store, you always turn to the right once you go inside? That's for a purpose. They do things for a purpose. Have you ever noticed that when you go into a grocery store, the produce section is the first section you see in stores that have done this research? Nira, thank you so much for the super sticker, Nira. I appreciate you. So they have the fruits first, and you're thinking to yourself, why would you put the fruit section first? That's like delicate items, strawberries, grapes, bananas, they could get squished. Why would you put the fruit first? Well, after extensive research in our habits and how we operate in our minds, research has shown if we put the produce section first in the store and you go and you pick up a couple things, maybe you're going to get a salad, you're going to get some lettuce, and you're going to get some tomatoes, and you're like, I'm going to be healthy this week, I'm going to go home and make a salad. And um you get, something happens in your brain, and I don't know all the research behind this, but something happens in your brain where you're like, I feel good about myself, I am a healthy person, I am a healthy eater. And when they've done this research, it's shown that when they have the supermarkets laid out where the produce is first, you actually end up spending more money. The supermarkets know this. If you put produce in your cart first, you will spend more money because you've already told yourself, okay, I'm healthy, I'm eating good, gonna eat healthy this week. Even if your produce just rots in your fridge and you don't actually eat it, because you've told your brain, like, I'm a healthy person, this is who I identify with. Then when you go through the other aisles, you're loading up on the treats and maybe stuff you wouldn't normally get because you're like, well, I'm a healthy eater. I got salad, I got fruit in my basket. You're more likely to go and buy extra things and treats and stuff that you wouldn't normally have. So I'm trying to remember which book that was in. If I go back and look through my notes, I'll put it in the comments if I think of it. So what is the reason we don't do the things we need to do, even if the information is at our fingertips? Brittany is saying that's true. And the bakery is in the back. At least we have to walk all the way back to get it. Yeah. Um, so what many people don't realize that it's not about just following a certain step. Like if I gave you, people ask me all the time for advice. And even if I gave you the steps you need, to follow that advice, you might not do it because there's something underlying underneath, whether it's your confidence or your worthiness issues. So you may think, if I just had the steps, but no, it's not always true, because here's why. Because it's really virtually impossible to behave in a manner, to do the things you need to do, if it's different than your view of yourself. So maybe you've heard the phrase, this might just be an American colloquialism. Is that how you say the word? Colloquialism? It may just be an American saying, but there's a saying that says, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. Or in my case, it was, you can take the girl out of the trailer court, but you can't take the trailer court out of the girl. So you may have witnessed some of this online, like maybe some celebrity or someone you may have seen, like a celebrity or someone that becomes famous quickly, or maybe their first generation wealth. And there you see them and they're acting in such a way that it seems like it doesn't line up with their status. They're acting very uh like a hoodlum, ruthless. And maybe they had to fight tooth and nail to get where they are, and they had this scrappy way of life. And though they've gained this like success or this stardom or this riches, they still inside are that scrappy hoodlum type of person. And so when you do act like that, sometimes your success isn't sustainable. You end up seeing them in the news, or they're acting in a way that you're like, why would they do that? They had everything. It's because their actions will always line up with deep down who they really think they are. So, for instance, here's a good example. If you're an Olympic athlete who is in training season, you're not going to stay up late partying several nights a week and skipping your workouts and eating fast food every day, because that is inconsistent with who you are as an Olympic athlete. So the ways you and I are currently behaving are consistent deep down with who we believe ourselves to be. So in order for you to have the things that you want to have in your life, it's not about the doing the things to get there. It's first about becoming the person you would need to be, who would act and do, right? Who would act in the ways you need to act and who would do the things you need to do. So you have to first become the person who it's natural for that person to have those winning behaviors. That's why if I just gave you a roadmap to success, it wouldn't work, because you wouldn't follow the steps, because you cannot behave in a way that contradicts who you think you are. Is this helpful? Are you guys finding this helpful? Do you see some inconsistencies in your life between what you say you want and how you're acting, and how maybe what you think underneath might be dictating your actions? Let me know in the comments if this is helpful so far. So, yes, I could give you a roadmap to success right now, but it wouldn't work because of all the things we were just talking about. Because if it doesn't line up with who you feel like you are, it's not going to work out. And that's why I spent hours designing. That's why I have hours of content and spent couple years designing that course I have out called You Are Worthy, because it's all about the core teaching of how you see yourself. It doesn't matter if I gave you the roadmap to all different kinds of things. If you don't know your worthiness, you don't know who you are, you're not going to take the steps you need to anyway. So my how-to plan wouldn't work for you. So it's not until you see yourself the way God sees you, as worthy, loved, cherished, chosen, capable, that you can actually do the actions you need to do to become victorious. Okay. So many of you, and that's like a segue onto that. Brittany says, yes, relevant. Good. Many of you have been asking me to do a teaching on how to discover your purpose. And I've been thinking about it, and I've got a lot of material on it. But here's the thing. If we don't get down, and if you don't get down to the root of how you feel about yourself, you could know your purpose, you could know your calling, and someone could give you the roadmap to it. Like I could give you a car with a full tank of gas and a roadmap to California, but you still might not leave your house to come visit me because you don't feel worthy of it or you're not confident in yourself. Okay. So there was this movie director friend of mine, and he was telling me about how one day he was at a courthouse and he saw a woman who was she was in court trying to get a restraining order, and this woman was completely beat up. She was Her face was all bruised, and you could tell she was recovering from a very bloody and brutal beating. And the judge, he granted her the restraining order. And he told the man who did this to her that he had to stay however many hundreds of yards away from her. And yet, when my friend was leaving, he saw outside this woman get into the car with the man who beat her, who she had a restraining order against. They left together. So, how did that woman see herself? Do you think she had worthiness issues? Do you think she felt that she was worth something more? Not if you're getting into the car with the person who almost took your life and caused the trauma, right? Like I had a friend in high school who was constantly getting beaten by her boyfriend, even when she was pregnant, and she stayed with him. I had another friend though. This is an opposite scenario. I had another friend who her boyfriend hit her once. It's all it took. One time he hit her once, and that was it. She was out of there. And when he came back, she had a shotgun ready. She was like, "Nope, we are not going there. We're not taking that." And she was not going to let him back in. Now, we're not getting into the whole psychology of, you know, people who stay in abusive relationships and all of that. I mean, there's entire books written on that subject that you can study if you need help getting out of those situations, and there's organizations you can call. But I just wanted to bring that up because, could it be that they don't have the confidence to leave due to like fear that they won't be able to make it on their own? Or is it a deeper underlying self-worth issue that they don't think they deserve better treatment, or that they think this is the treatment they deserve? So if you're still not certain if you're struggling with confidence issues or unworthiness issues, one clue you can have is to listen to your self-talk. You may say things to yourself, and this is how you're going to know if it's a worthiness issue versus like a confidence issue. Maybe you're saying things to yourself like, well, who am I? Who am I to do this? This is when I was writing my first book back in 2007. Well, who's going to want to listen to me? Who am I to do this certain thing? Who am I to attempt to do something great? There's people out there that are more deserving than me. Or maybe you say things to yourself like, well, people from my town, we don't get out of here. People in my town, we don't do big things. Or maybe you're saying, well, people of my size, or people of my faith, my religion, people of my ethnicity, we don't get hired, or we don't get chose to do these certain big things. Or maybe you're saying, well, nobody wants to hear from somebody my age. Maybe you think you're too old. Maybe you think you're too young, that no one's going to take you seriously. I remember my husband, when he first started his job, he felt like no one took him seriously because he looked so young. So he purposely grew a beard so he could look older so people would take him seriously. So you may say these things about yourself. This is why it's important to listen to your self-talk. And there's an exercise we do in the You Are Worthy book, I think it's chapter 14 or 15, where we go through the SIGHT method. And the SIGHT method is a formula. It's a 5-step formula I came up with on how to be able to see yourself the way God sees you, so you can take these actions you need to take to live the life that you want to live. And part of it is really recognizing what are the things. This is in the first step in S and C is you have to start to see how are you behaving? What are you saying about yourself? You have to really notice, how am I interacting with people? What do I say about myself when I'm in the dressing room? Am I saying, "Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you don't look good in this"? What are the things that you're saying about yourself? That's You're going to get to the heart of if you're struggling with a self-worth issue. All right. So you could be the type of person who is better at a job or a skill or a talent that's than someone else. I remember when sometimes I would go to the movies or I go somewhere and I would watch a movie and I would see an actor who was not very good. And I would think, what in the world? I'm a better actor than this particular person. How come they have the role and I don't? And it's because I did not feel worthy of winning. When I would go to audition, sometimes I would be better than some of the other actors, but because I had such low self-worth, I would do things that would show I didn't have confidence, that I was um, just not, I just would give off this yuck, like I did, like I don't deserve it, head down. Or I don't know if you've ever watched any audition tapes when someone does an audition, they do it and then they're like, oh, they get this look on their face like, oh, that wasn't good enough. There was probably things I was doing subconsciously that I didn't know I was doing that was letting the people know, oh, she's not good. She's not, we shouldn't hire her. She's not confident. So what is it for you? So you could be better than someone else and still not win because you don't feel worthy of it. Sometimes the only difference between um, the people you see doing what you want to do and you is they felt like, yeah, I could do it. And you feel like, no, I can't really do it. You could be better than they are, but they have the confidence, they have the self worth. And even if you've got better skills, if you don't think you deserve it or you're worthy, you're going to sabotage it. All right. Is this making sense? I hope so. All right. So this goes back to the unworthiness issue, and your actions and habits have a way of conforming to the view that you have of yourself. So when you say these things out loud, or even you say these negative things to yourself, where does it come from? Where are these thoughts coming from? Well, Luke 6:45 says, "The mouth speaks what the heart is full of." Another translation says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." So, as you know from Proverbs 23:7, the way that you think becomes who you are. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So, you're going to become the things you're thinking about yourself. You can't outdo the belief and thoughts you have of yourself. You can't be like, oh, I'm awful, and then succeed. Do you understand that? It doesn't line up. If you think you're awful, you're going to behave in a way that keeps you down at that awful place. So, from my experience, confidence is different. We were just talking about unworthiness and worthiness. Confidence, on the other hand, I've noticed can take on two forms. So, if you say, well, I lack confidence, is it that you're lacking confidence in the skill or the ability? Or is it that you're lacking confidence in who you are or your ability? Or are you lacking confidence in whether the thing you're going to try is going to work out? Okay, I'm going to give you an example because otherwise it sounds too heady. Um, so you could know your worth and you could feel worthy and you could have total confidence in your abilities and in yourself. And sometimes, even just thinking a thought that something might not work out, sometimes that's enough to get you to procrastinate on the action that it's required for you to take. So, you guys may be looking at me like, well, Catherine's so confident, which is true. I am most of the time. And Catherine knows her worth, which is true. It's how I was able to write the book, You Are Worthy. Okay. So, But there's still areas in my life where I'm not executing. Why is that? I'm about to uncover that. That's like this third layer. So I was talking to my coach last week. So for those of you who don't know, I have a life coach. I've had a life coach for years. I've had many life coaches over the years. And I am also a life coach. And I don't think you should see a life coach. Go to a life coach who doesn't have a life coach, just like you shouldn't go see a therapist who doesn't also have a therapist. Everyone needs to have their stuff worked out, even if it's at different places and different levels. But I digress. Okay. So I was talking to my coach last week and I was sharing with her all these things I needed to get done and all these things that I was trying to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to work this into my schedule? I've had this one thing on my to-do list for almost a year. And that's, I've been wanting to send out my You Are Worthy book to different celebrities and influencers and try to get quotes on it, like have them give me quotes on it. But I haven't done it. And it's been like 10 or 11 months since I've wanted to do that. And yes, I am pressed for time. But even though I'm pressed for time, I could choose to work on the cover letter and get the materials to send them the book instead of some of the other stuff I'm working on, right? I could do that. And when I've had moments to work on it and I didn't, I'm asking myself, okay, what is stopping me? And this is an important exercise for all of you guys to do too. Is when you're hitting roadblocks and something is coming up and you're like, why am I not doing this? You got to start to peel back the layers and find out why you're not doing it. So I started to ask myself, what is stopping me from doing that, from sending the different people my books? And it wasn't until I said it out loud. This is why it's sometimes good to talk to a friend, a therapist, a life coach. Sometimes just like sitting with your own thoughts and journaling doesn't always do the trick. Sometimes you need that back and forth banter, or sometimes you just need to say it out loud to help you really process and figure things out. So it wasn't until, because I'd been thinking about it for almost a year now doing it, but it wasn't until I said it out loud where I had this realization of my hesitating. Why am I procrastinating on sending these letters and these books out? And well, part of it's because I don't actually know if the addresses that I found online are the real addresses for these celebrities, right? You don't know. They could have moved. It could be their agent's address, it could be their manager's address, it could be an old address. So I don't know if the book would actually get to them. And then I thought, well, even if it was their address, I don't know if they would actually receive the book. Maybe their assistant would get it and not pass it on to them. And then they wouldn't even see the book. So even though it was like a desire of mine to do it, and I felt confident in the book and that it would help them, even a celebrity, and I felt worthy of being able to do that, I wasn't doing it. So, and yes, sometimes I only have like 4 to 6 hours a week to work on stuff between, some of you guys have been asking, between working at Darman Studios and homeschooling and just mom life and being a wife. It's the time, right? If I spend a couple hours writing a cover letter and paying extra to FedEx it overnight, I don't actually know if the celebrities would see it or get it. And then I started having these thoughts like, well, maybe even if they do see it, they might be too busy to look at it. I think of how busy I am. I can imagine how many demands these celebrities might have on them. I think, well, they might be too busy to look at it. And then I notice these are defeating thoughts, right? When you start to think, well, they might think, well, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. Why would I give them a quote? Why would I endorse their book? And I just realized, wow, um, I'm having these underlying thoughts that even though I'm confident in myself and in my work and, in my content, and I know it would be helpful to them, just just having the thought that they might not respond was enough to get me to not even send it, to not take the action, because I was like, I cannot spare 2 hours, like, putting this together and going to the FedEx and mailing it if they're not even going to see it? So that's just like when you start to get real and peeling back the layers, you'll start to see what is underneath, what is underneath, what is underneath. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to go and pull back and see what is underneath. So in my I'll share something with you. You guys can be the first to hear. So some of you know I'm putting out I'm writing a book right now about all my experiences in Hollywood and all the people I've met, all the different kinds of situations I've been in. I'm not telling everything, but I'm telling a lot of the different situations I've been in, people I've met. And I'm going to share with you guys a poem that's going to be coming out. Hopefully this book will be published about Hollywood in October. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. What is it? Let me see. Where'd you get this? Oh no, that's for school. This is for homeschool.
I don't know about the body parts.
We'll do that together. That's not something for you to do by yourself. So I bought this like little skeleton with the little body parts and organs for them to use in homeschool. Hold on, I'm going to close the door. So we're talking about not taking action due to procrastination, due to fear. We've covered all the things: unworthiness, uncertainty, and not feeling like you're worth. Well, you run into these people. Maybe you know people who've said they're going to do this and said they're going to do that, and they never do. And maybe underneath their procrastination is these fears that it's not going to work out. They're gonna feel like a failure. They're not confident in their abilities, or they don't feel like they deserve it. So one of the poems coming out in my Hollywood book, you'll be the first to hear it before it's even published. This is about that person who's that poser, because you meet a lot of these people in Hollywood. They're these actors that say they're doing this and they're really just doing extra work, and they say they're acting and they're not. Or you meet these screenwriters that have been working on the same screenplay for 10 years. That was me once. I did 17 drafts of the same screenplay for 10 years. Or you'll meet these people that have been like trying to get their film made for 15 years. Maybe peel back the layers underneath. They're feeling undeserving or not confident in themselves. So this is coming out in my new Hollywood book. I don't know if I'm going to call it The Poser or what I'm going to call it. You've great ideas, I've heard for years. You pomp and pose amongst your peers. You make grand plans with passioned heart, but can't complete what you don't start. Afraid to fail, you dodge most things. Yeah, some won't work, and backfire stings. That feared response, the mental trap. Will they throw rocks or stand and clap? Yet what to do, how you react, determines if you stay intact. Don't let the game max smack you down, complain and curse, decked in a frown. You're born to blame, claim it's not you. But truth be told, you know it's true. Rejection's wrath projected out. You know what this is all about. Man up, get something done. But you just sit while others run. It pains you now where you should be. Your guest list fare while they're marquee. If this is what you crave, let's see it. Blab all you want, but you won't be it. Put action with your pretty speech. If it's your need, you've got to reach. The dream won't come unless there's work and toil, not foolish, stagnant words that spoil. So where's the man you say you'll be? Right now, consumed with jealousy, their diligence has moved them far. You pose beflecked in trendy cars. By your facade, you're doing well. In hip spots, hang, chat on your cell. You throw down hundies, drinks for all. You make a show, then hit the wall. I know that it can aggravate when you've done things that you now hate. How far can you go on your looks? Hey, take a class. or read some books. Yes, gain some smarts. Don't just believe that if you want it, you'll receive, that if you chant, pray, meditate, then everything will turn out great. Yes, that may do your soul some good, but if you don't do what you should, you'll waste your time wishing on a star. Your target reached. It's where you are. Stop talking about what you will do. Leave Starbucks. Take a step or two toward your ambition. Go for broke or watch your life go up in smoke. Don't look left or to the right. Let's put action to make your words take flight. Don't stay here till you're old and gray, still spouting what you'll do someday. If boast and blame remain your game, you'll never have your claim to fame. Man up, get something done. But you just sit while others run. It pains you now where you should be. Your guest list fare, while there, marquee. Does that resonate with any of you? Do you feel like, man, that's me? I'm making excuses. Well, you can decide that that stops today. So perhaps in your own life, what you're attempting to do, whether it's a confidence issue or a worthiness issue, and you're sabotaging yourself and you're not sure if the desired outcome is going to happen, maybe you're thinking it's not going to work out. I hope in this training today you've gained some clarity and discovered if you're procrastinating due to lack of confidence in thinking maybe you won't be effective at the task, or maybe you lack the worthiness, which goes beyond thinking the thing won't work. It's thinking that you're not good enough at your core, that you are not enough. So if you feel worthiness is your issue, you can see we've talked about it this long and we've not even scratched the surface. And obviously I can't teach you on just a couple of live streams all the things that you need to do to feel worthy and to see yourself differently and from an empowering place that you feel equipped and eager to go after your dreams instead of running for them. But the good news is I have more video trainings, right? If you followed me on YouTube for any time, you see I have over 800 videos helping you with your worth, overcoming obstacles, and going for your dreams. And if you want a more pointed, in-depth study on how to really have that self-worth you need, then go check out my course, You Are Worthy. That will help you. You can DM me about that, or better yet, go to youareworthycourse.com. So if that's you and you're still in a place where you're lacking worth and knowing how worthy you are, I'm going to give you a free gift. So the online course I just mentioned, I produced, You Are Worthy. It's going to show you how valuable you are. So you stop sitting on the sidelines while others are out running. It's going to help you see yourself the way God sees you so you can step into your calling and live your purpose with confidence. And so after watching these videos, so you can download a free gift from me and you're going to get 3 video trainings out of that. And so go download that right when you hop off today. Free gift from coachkat.com. Free gift from coachkat.com. Someone can put that in the comments so you guys can find it. So if you believe unworthiness is the reason you're procrastinating on your dreams and goals, get the course or go get the book You Are Worthy on Amazon. And you can contact me about enrolling in the course, or at least go to Free Gift from Coach Kat and download 3 of the lessons. That's going to help you shift your perspective in your self-worth. All right. So if you know your worth and you believe it's just confidence that you're lacking, the good news is that's a pretty easy problem to solve. So if it's confidence you're lacking, I want you to come back. We're going to do one more training and we're going to go over what to do if you lack confidence. Probably next Saturday, we're going to do Q&A. So Q&A next Saturday, but the Saturday after that, we're going to finish up on what to do if you lack confidence. And we're going to go into the final reason you may be procrastinating. I've had 8 of them. So I've had 7 so far. So we're going to tackle the lack of confidence. And the next time we're going to tackle perfectionism. Is that you? What do you do if you can't move forward because you want everything to be perfect? So, friends, Friends who know your worth and you know your identity in Christ. That's awesome. For those of you who don't, you know what I want to do? No, I'm going to do that next time. We're out of time. I'm going to do that next time. So I know I just kind of changed things up today, but I was looking at the clock and we're not going to go over. So we will see you next week for Q&A. And I don't know if I'm on TikTok right now. I don't know if I'm going to do that next week. This was the first. So those of you on TikTok, come find me on YouTube. I'm there every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. doing a training or doing a Q&A or having a special guest teach you something. We will see you next time.